Information and Orientation, Professor Jerry Ghana, has declared with certainty that former President Goodluck Jonathan will contest the 2027 presidential election on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and reclaim the presidency. Speaking to journalists shortly after the PDP Niger State Congress in Minna on Saturday, Ghana said Nigerians had experienced two other leaders after Jonathan and were now yearning for his return. Describing the PDP as truly democratic and grassroots-oriented, Ghana said the party had always allowed Nigerians to freely choose their leaders. He maintained that the PDP remained popular because of its people-centered programs. On the party's internal affairs, the former minister dismissed talks of crisis, insisting disagreements had long been resolved. In his words, when there was a near crisis in the party, the founding fathers convened a consultative conference in Abuja and addressed all the issues. We're now prepared for the task ahead in 2027, he assured. Former President Goodluck Jonathan has taken a step of faith and met with leaders of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, in no less a critical consultation ahead of the 2027 presidential election. Jonathan, who publicly met with politicians and party leaders for the first time since his rumored bid to return to power, met the ADC stakeholders at the home of their national chairman, Senator David Mark. The closed-door meeting between former President Goodluck Jonathan and the national chairman of African Democratic Congress, Senator David Mark, in Abuja on Thursday was all about Jonathan's ambition to return to office as president in 2027. The Nation investigation has revealed, but the former president's desire to secure the ticket of the coalition party may have experienced a hitch, as Mark pointedly told him that the only way his dream of picking the party's ticket could materialize was to formally join it and also take part in a fair and transparent presidential primary. With Jonathan failing to get a commitment from the party's national chairman, the two statesmen agreed to meet soon to review the matter. Moving on, as the November 16, 2025 National Convention of the People's Democratic Party scheduled for Ibadan, or your state capital, approaches, the governors elected on the party's platform may have reclaimed their influence and outwitted other stakeholders in the zoning of the party's offices, this day investigation has revealed. This is just as the National Convention Organizing Committee of the party has extended the deadlines for the submission of completed expression of interest and nomination forms, as well as the screening of aspirants contesting for offices in the November elective National Convention of the party. However, a fresh crisis is brewing in the main opposition party as the national chairman, Umar Damagum, and the national secretary, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, have issued conflicting notices to the Independent National Electoral Commission regarding the conduct of state congresses in 3 states. This day gathered that in the zoning arrangement for 21 offices backed by the governors, the office of the national chairman of the PDP was zoned to the northwest, foreclosing the chances of former Governor Samuel Ortom of Benue State from clinching the position. Joining us on Political Brief to discuss these stories is Arise Director of News and Politics Editor, Sumna Sambo. Good morning, Sumna, and welcome to join us on the morning show today.
Thank you so much, Ayo. Good morning to you, Dr. Abati, and Rufai, and all our viewers.
Well, Sumna, most of these investigations gathered this person said, that person said, in my view. Mostly half-truths, speculations, people angle shooting, people listening to one side, not having the full picture. But I guess, this is in the nature of the moment. I have my own views about all of this, but you are the person to look at this. Can you tell us what you know on all of these issues that have been outlined? And maybe when I listen to you, I may have, things to react to. But I see a lot of speculations, but it's okay. It's okay. People shooting angles here and there. It's okay. Yeah.
All right, Dr. Abati, I guess you should be speaking with your former boss more frequently, and you would have heard from him if he has formally decided to get into the political arena or not. But one thing is very clear, former President Goodluck Jonathan is under peer pressure from allies and friends internationally and domestically. If you see that most of the presidents who lost election between the last decade, I mean between 2011 to 2021, or between 2015 to 2025, many of them are having a strong comeback. And so let's start internationally, I mean, with the latest results that are coming in from the Malawian elections, where you have Peter Mutharika, who took over from his late brother, Binguwa Mutharika, imagine winner of the Malawian election, having defeated Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, who is the incumbent in Malawi. And of course, as someone who took over from his late brother, you can see some similarity with former President Goodluck Jonathan there. And so that has buoyed a whole lot of people, to call on President Jonathan to just see how he can actually, take a shot. And don't forget, in this same election, something similar to what happened in 2015 happened. The incumbent Lazarus Chakwera picked his phone and called Peter Mutharika to congratulate him before the final results were released. I mean, one of the legacies of former President Goodluck Jonathan. And then you roll back to what happened in Ghana, where we have former Vice President Muhammadu Bawumia, former Vice President of Ghana, actually conceding to the incumbent John Mahama before the election results were released. And you see that there's a similarity between John Mahama and former President Goodluck Jonathan. John Mahama took over after the death of John Atta Mills. And so he was vice president and immediately he became president, just like Jonathan took over after the death of Umar Musa Yar'Adua. So you see the similarities. And of course, most people within this perspective are saying that, look, it looks like incumbents are falling, and then, of course, former presidents maintain a better economy, and so there's a push to actually have them come back. And so that's the context within which Jonathan is, facing. And then domestically, you look at it, the thing that appeals to a whole lot of Nigerian politicians about Jonathan is that he's from the South and he's only got a term left. But of course, the controversy subsists, whether or not someone can actually swear to the presidency, take an oath to the presidency 3 times. But of course, the amendment was done after Jonathan had already left office. So by chance, he's still allowed to contest in one way or the other. So this is the circumstance. And so you won't blame someone like Jerry Ghana for saying that he will come. But is he going to come under the PDP? Is PDP good enough for Jonathan to come? Well, that's a question a whole lot of us will answer. And then, of course, you've seen that through the ADC approach that he took. All right.
That's the question I'm putting back to you this morning, because that was also what was on my mind. If you were to give him political advice, so now what would you ask him? What would you think would be best for him? To go on the platform of the PDP, they haven't yet gotten their acts together yet with political internal wranglings, or the newly minted ADC, but do they have enough awareness, or are people able to recognize the party, and is it good enough for Jonathan if he does intend to run to go on that platform? Which would you advise?
Well, Ayo, PDP is too damaged for a presidential ticket to be given to Jonathan to contest, and he would win. And if you look at what is happening at the moment, you see that the military wing of the Nigerian polity, they've all moved. They are shifting to the ADC. Actually, those who established the PDP in 1998 are majorly military, those within the military apparatchik. And you will see that many of them have already seen that the PDP, PDP is going to be allowed to contest other elections, like governorship and all of that. But in terms of delivering presidential wins, even Jonathan himself knows that the PDP is too damaged at the moment, and it will be a big problem for him to be able to run. Now, I'm thinking that there's an understanding between both parties, because, if you go to the ADC now, the ADC was actually, registered by former President Olusegun Obasanjo, and you had people like Nwosu. They were just placeholders. Look at the history of the ADC very well. You know that it was a placeholder political party that has always been kept in place by former President Olusegun Obasanjo for his allies. So that vehicle was being prepared for Peter Obi, and now Jonathan is coming. Jonathan and Peter Obi, they are all within the same, team of quote, Obasanjo's boys. And so Obasanjo is going to sit down with them and have, a talk as to what should go on and what should not go. And people like General Gusau will be there to actually help support the final decision on what will happen. But I can tell you that with what's going on right now, PDP won't be a vehicle because, there's a lot of things, there are a lot of things that are happening, and with the Wike factor there, and you will see the fight that's ongoing before the November 16 convention that's happening. A whole lot of things will be too down enough for the PDP to be a vehicle that can either deliver a Jonathan or deliver a Peter Obi. But the good thing about ADC and Jonathan, for example, is that if Jonathan runs under ADC, for example, Peter Obi is likely not to run. And so if it's going to be under the PDP too that Jonathan decides to run, there's a likelihood that Peter Obi may not be able to run because Peter Obi owes a whole lot of his loyalty to Jonathan. But there's been a consensus among some politicians that Jonathan should step aside and allow people like Obi to actually come in. He looks fresh. Jonathan can work with him and all of that. And then the fear of Jonathan's legacy going down the drain. So a whole lot of things are at play, but Jonathan would have to make the final decision. If he does decide to contest, then he should know that he's contesting against an incumbent that has the resources and the understanding of power play to be able to score to his ambition. But of course, like I said, the ADC and PDP are both military wings of the Nigerian polity. Okay. So there's a tendency that they may, if all these people step aside, Jonathan step aside, and it's Obi, or Obi step aside, and it's only Jonathan, all the candidates step aside, and it's Tinubu and Jonathan alone, or Tinubu and Obi, then, of course, it may be a game changer, actually.
Okay. So I would rather believe a Dr. Abati that recently met with Jonathan over a Jerry Ghana, Professor Jerry Ghana, that has been saying one thing for a bit. At first, he started with, we want Jonathan to run. Now he's saying he's going to run. So I'd rather believe Dr. Abbas when he said people are just talking around the edges over that. But we haven't talking about the PDP. Do we even have a party as we speak today? Where are we going to have a convention? Where they're having conflicting letters being written between the Damagon, Ghanaian parts to this. So do we even have a PDP as we speak today?
Yeah, there is. The PDP is still strong in one way or the other, but it's not strong as a national party to be able to win elections at the national level. To win a presidential election. But when you talk of governorship, senatorial, and all of that, and I think those who have damaged PDP, that's the intention actually, to make sure that PDP just remains within the subnational level, winning governorship election, winning senatorial elections, and all of that, but not being the vehicle. And if you look at it very clearly, you see that former President Goodluck Jonathan himself needs to be properly blamed for the state of PDP at the moment. Now, if he knew in one way or the other that there was going to be a tendency that he'll come back, why not take the option of Mahama? Stay in the party and build the party. But now you don't stay in the party, you don't build the party, and now there are talks that you're considering. Well, I'm very, in my calculation, I think that Jonathan is not going to take that option and to go the way of Jerry Ghana, saying that he will contest and that he will contest under the PDP. Because he himself knows that he has not done enough work to build it. Atiku Abubakar himself didn't do enough work to build the same PDP. That's why everybody's running away. Now, if you want to build a party to use it as a vehicle to win, to come back to power, you have to stay and build the structures. Where are the Jonathan structures in the PDP at the moment? He just left it, just like Atiku would always leave the PDP and go to Dubai. So I would say that Jonathan should be careful of the submission by Jerry Ghana and the certainty by Jerry Ghana that he will come back and then use the PDP ticket. I would say that Jonathan should maybe take a look at joining hands with all the opposition forces, or why not even ensuring that Tinubu himself is supported, because both of them are from South. Because if Atiku Abubakar does clinch the ADC ticket, I can tell you that it will be a different ball game. And you can see that Atiku has prepared the ADC very well for himself. That's why the Obedients are finding it very difficult in the ADC. And the ADC wouldn't want to go the way of zoning, because Atiku wouldn't want that to happen.
All right.
But
so
look at the scenario that we have at the moment now.
Right.
In summary, if we do have an Atiku Abubakar and then we do have President Tinubu contesting, is going to work against the zoning formula that we have.
Right.
And so that's why leaders, statesmen have to come together.
Right, so
but all of this is on the fact that we're